So just finished some martial arts training out here in Marbella for a month. I usually live in the UK, but came out here for a few weeks. Absolutely beautiful place. Highly recommend it if you haven't been. But the training just got me thinking, how important the gym and Muay Thai that I've been doing for a few years now have been for dealing with just the bullshit of life. If you have a bad day, bad week, something gets on your nerves, and particularly if women are frustrating you, if you've had a disappointment with a girl that you've been into, it's so good to let it out through something like physical training and challenge. And I thought, why not make a video about this? Because chances are someone out there is going to need to hear it. So what do you actually do when a girl that you're into is frustrating? Maybe she's acting up, like you've had a few dates, they've gone super well, you think you're actually really compatible, and then she suddenly stops replying, or she avoids meeting you, or she just flat out kind of ends things with you. Or maybe, she just rejects you in the first place, or just shit tests you so much and you kind of feel overwhelmed by it. And yeah, it's particularly hard, especially, if you've been raised without a father figure like I have, was raised by a single mother. You just don't really know how to deal with women's shit testing, and you kind of like left there like an idiot and at their mercy. So let's help you out with that. Like, what do you actually do if a girl is acting up? Well, the first thing is you need to realize that you need to conserve your energy and use it in the right way. So you chasing her, being needy and kind of supplicating, thinking that, the more like attention I give her, the more compliments or whatever I give her, she's going to be more into me and then she's going to stop acting up. Not the case, right? And I know, being raised by single mothers, we have this tendency to just desire love and affection. We think about it more than a guy who perhaps had both parents around. It's not always the case, but it quite often is. So we have this tendency, right? That's already in our disadvantage. So I'm telling you to override your instinct, if that's the instinct that's coming into your mind, and to just take a step back and think, okay, this is like partially a reflection of who I am right now. You have to own this up to yourself. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. Women are a great reflection for where you're at in life. And so if a girl is acting up and she's not being respectful, she's not behaving the way you'd like her to, that means that you're not yet the kind of man who can command that respect, that affection, that behavior, or you haven't set your boundaries clearly enough. And again, that's a problem when you have been raised without a father figure, that we're just not as good at setting boundaries and imposing that respect. But that's a separate topic. So first you need to take ownership, and you need to realize that you investing more energy into the girl isn't going to help your case. The second thing you need to do is you need to think about the ways in which you can work on yourself to have it happen less often, to reduce the likelihood of that happening with the next girl you'll be with. So things like physical training, absolutely fantastic. If you're not already in the gym, what the fuck are you doing? Pick up the workout program, do some weights, cardio, or both ideally. Stick to it consistently, just have it as part of your day. Pick up martial arts, try boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, like I've been doing, or something else. Just give it a go and turn up to a class and see how you find it. It would just be a good way for you to channel some of that frustration, some of that like aggression, anger, and you'll feel so much calmer afterwards and clear-minded. And the more work you put into yourself, your body, your appearance, your performance, the more you're going to respect yourself. Travel, pick up new hobbies, learn new things. The more things you have in your sphere of control outside of women. This is why I tend to preach that women shouldn't be your mission, because if they are, and some girl's on some bullshit and she lets you down, that's your entire world crashing down. That's when it really sucks, right? That's when guys get into depressive moods. They don't get out of bed, they don't brush their teeth, they just basically hit a massive rut. So we want to avoid that for you. So have shit going on in your life as much as possible. Live an interesting life, because trust me, they will be watching. Whether you're on Instagram, social media, and you're posting cool stories, like you're training, you're traveling with your buddies, you're going to cool events, you're dressing up nicely for a dinner. Trust me, women will watch from afar. I've had girls in the past just blank me on messages, and then I'd post something interesting, and they'll always watch the stories, right? They might be blanking your messages, but they will tend to watch the stories. And I've had girls like come back after 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 months, you know, replying to my story saying, "Oh, haha, where are you?" And then, you know, you end up kind of going on dates and then sleeping with them, and that's all because you kind of lived an interesting life that attracted them. So once again, first, conserve your energy so that you can then, secondly, channel it into cool things that will benefit your life. Have a good lifestyle around you. Let's say, you know, it's not going to be an immediate fix, right? So you're going to have to be quite patient, quite resilient with this. But after all, bro, like, that's the nature of self-improvement and becoming a better man. You know, this shit just takes time. And yeah, you might just not have that girl come back to you. And you shouldn't do these things with that girl specifically in mind. You should be doing it for yourself, selfishly. Think of yourself as your own best friend, and trust me, the future you will thank you for that, because in the future, girls will not be on their bullshit as much as the girl that just let you down. They'll be coming to you, and then it's going to be your choice whether to give them what they want or not, whether to actually like invest in them or keep grinding for yourself. So that's a bit of wisdom, just spitting some game about, you know, when women are frustrating, because I've actually had it happen like quite recently. Like I was saying, you know, it doesn't really get to me much these days, but every now and then I'll find a girl that's like particularly special. You know, you kind of fall into the trap of, oh, she's different and everything. And now I'm actually, because I've had a good level of exposure to women, I am able to tell when a girl is different and she actually is like special. And so when that happens and then she starts acting up, I'll still be like, oh, you know, that's annoying, that's frustrating, because I thought she was like really wholesome and everything, and I wanted it to work out. The more exposure you have, though, like, those waves of frustration will get like smaller and smaller, and it's going to be less impactful. So yeah, exposure, abundance mentality, all of that also comes into play to helping you deal with girls being on their bullshit. So that's it for today. Once again, the pre-sale for the course is in the description. I'll see you in the next video.